Hello everybody, my name is Adam and I'm an artist. I'm going to show you how I did this watercolor painting here, so if you like it, take a look. I'm starting out with some cotton paper. This is a 5x7 here. And I'm going to take this nice paper and I'm going to mess it all up here. I'm getting a small razor blade and I'm going to scuff it and scratch it and just undo all the amazing work that the paper company did to make this so smooth. So just kind of going at will. No real rhyme or reason. You can do different kind of strokes, different angles here to create texture in the final product. So the more you go over a certain spot, the deeper obviously it's going to be. Straight lines will give you a sharper edge and so on and so forth. So just play with it. That's what I normally do. You'll see what it does as we go on. I like to wet my palette sometimes with the squeeze bottle, get everything wet. So far I've found no downside to doing that at all. Dipping the brush here in some just regular old water. And you know, not really visualizing too much. I'm just going through, I'm gonna grab some Payne's Gray here, which is a color that I've recently really fallen in love with, and just gonna spread that on the paper. This cotton paper is pretty thirsty, so it requires a lot of water. And I'm just playing with it. You know, no real thought of what I want at the end. I'm just kind of letting the paint do what it wants. Going over and making some darker spots here. I try not to go over it once you lay the paint down. Going over it multiple times isn't really, it's going to mute it and destroy like the brush strokes. So, got an old sock here that I use to wipe off some of the paint off the brush. I often find it kind of helpful to, you know, think about your think about the color wheel. You know, what's going to complement this blue, this bluish kind of gray, and I thought some magenta might be nice. So they're kind of similar. You know, this magenta is a bit warmer, and the Payne's Gray is a lot cooler and calming. So I thought they might be a good complement. With this kind of oval wash brush, you can make these really cool little pointed shapes here. So that's what I'm doing, just playing with it. You can spread your paint out by just kind of using water here. Using water and let the watery kind of invisible paint grab the paint and kind of suck it down. And just for some excitement, some contrast, I'm reaching for some orange here. I like to test it like on a little piece of paper just to see kind of what it's going to look like, because it doesn't always look exactly as it looks in the palette. And this yellow also seems like that would be interesting, so we're going to add some of that here. Just a bit. It's kind of like an accent, is my thought with the orange and yellow. They both look really good against the blues and the kind of magenta purple. Now my thought is to create some more interest by darkening the paint in certain spots here, so that we have light and dark, because watercolor is all about, you know, letting it do its thing, letting it play with the water. It has to spread out, it has to do different transparencies and layers, and here's a really cool trick. I'm adding just some regular old salt that I found in the pantry to certain kind of areas here. And the salt is actually going to draw in the water and create some really cool texture here. With abstract, it's really important to make sure you got lots of things for the eye to look at. It's got to, your eye's got to wander and sort of play around and enjoy what it's looking at. So I'm going to take my knife and create some fine little lines, and we'll see in the final product. I'm going to kind of use the knife here as a paintbrush and kind of spread the paint out of the pools here that I made with the kind of watery or darker paint. And at the end we'll see those a little bit more. got all sorts of lines that are already appearing. You should see the lines we've already carved into the paper. I'm liking that here. I don't want to do too much. Abstract's all about knowing when to stop, when to let go. And it's just really fun to do. So we're gonna take a look at this and just let it sit. Let it dry. It's really important to let the painting dry all the way. You can wipe off a bit of salt here. Sometimes I leave it on while I'm doing my final touches. And you can see the impressions that the salt left behind is kind of like floret sort of things that I really like. And again, with abstract, it's kind of just you gotta let it do what it wants to do. It's got to be accidental, kind of. It's got to look organic. The mess. I'm taking this pencil here, just a regular old pencil, and I'm going to create some real faint, loose lines, which will help us with the final product here. It's going to give us little things to look at while we're looking at the painting. If it's too simple, it's just going to look a little boring. And we want just little things for us to find, little treasures, little light lines here, little bits of texture, just things to keep our eye busy. Because the way I do my painting, it's all about what we see when we look at them. And I want to keep it so that there's little things for you to pick up on, you know. Things that make you think, things that make you see. I'm going to take this fine marker here. It's like a 005, and I'm going to draw some little lines here, just very faint lines in some of the spaces. And of course, I use those a lot. They run out. my favorite size of marker, pen rather. Just doing some little light lines on the outside, and it's not so bad that it's out, but we're gonna look for a third here. There's all sorts of tools you can use, pencils, markers, anything you want, different size brushes too. So I'm gonna create some more accents. I'm gonna take this gold paint, which I love this stuff. It just needs a little bit of hydration, but I'm gonna take this small brush because it's giving me a different texture. And we're going to kind of just roll it around and just kind of let it, just kind of try to be natural, just let it fall. I'm kind of using the metal part of the brush too as kind of like a palette knife, and I'm scraping some of this paint around, and I'm reaching for a different brush to give it different sort of shapes. Every brush is going to give you different shapes, so this gold will create an interesting little accent, something for the eye to look, and give it a little bit of elegance. It'll show up nice when it's nice and dry. And with accents, just kind of be careful. If you put too much, it's just going to be a mess. You just want little bits here and there. At least that's what I'm going for. And there's no wrong way to do it. Just this is my process here. And just play with it and bang it into it, and you can roll it, you can shake at it. There's no wrong way. Abstract's about having fun. I mean, it's the most fun way of painting. I have this gold pen here, which is, I'm going to do some like polka dots around some of the edges of some of the shapes, and just using what the water and paint did as my outline. And I'm not really thinking too much. I'm just putting dots here and lines here and there, and you just kind of experiment with it. And I think that's part of where abstract art has its learning curve or its difficulty. It doesn't take me that long sometimes to make some of these paintings, but where it all comes from is knowing how to balance it, where to put your lines, when to stop, when to start, when to get the inspiration, when to get the the brain for it. That's what it's all about. I mean, some of these paintings can be done in just a few, half hour or so, and then there's drawing and then all that. But it's just knowing when is too much, knowing when that is, and that itself is an art. I'm using silver as well. I'm not trying to do too much. Just a few little dots and lines to pick up on. So that when you're like, you see a dot and you're like, what's this? What's this silver? What's this gold? I'm just playing with it, just having fun. I mean, this is art, right? We should be having fun doing this. I got a white pen too, and I'm going to create some very loose lines. This is something I really like doing. And it's scary because you're like, what if I do too much? What if I mess it up? I mean, it happens. Sometimes you just do too much, but you learn. And those paintings, you don't have to throw them away. Take them off if you think you quote unquote ruined it or you did too much. Take them off, put it to the side, and there's all sorts of things we can do with paintings. We can chop them up. We can use them as mosaics, use them as reminders, use them as inspiration. So even a failed painting, so to speak, has a lot of use. So if you ever overdo it, that's okay. I overdo it all the time. Everybody makes mistakes, and that's okay. If we didn't, where would we learn? What's the point? Sometimes I take these thicker, what are they, Posca markers? They're kind of acrylic, but you know what? I wanted to keep this one simple. We're making a simple one here. So right now I'm going to take this off the pad. This is one of those where it's a block, so I didn't have to tape it down. It's already kind of glued in. So there's this fancy little tool for it, and you got to be real careful. I could have probably waited a few more minutes for this to dry, but once we get it off, it's awesome. So get all the little bits of glue off. If you're not using a block, you just tape down all the edges, and I'll do that in another video if you want to see this, how I do my thing. So we're gonna look at frames here. This is actually a big part of painting, is thinking about what it's gonna look like. So I'm gonna test some frames and kind of eyeball it and see what I want to do. Because this is big. I mean, framing is huge. A painting might not look that impressive until you put the vignette of a frame around it. I'm trying this one, and I'm looking at this edge, and I don't think I find that distracting. This one has a matte, which I think is a lot cleaner, and I actually rather like this look. I think the white matte and the black around here makes the kind of works for the eye. So I'm just gonna eyeball it and see what I want to do. And here's you see that gold? Here we go. Just a quick look, and sometimes I let it sit around for a few minutes, or if I'm not sure, I'll just put it in the frame and set it down and visit it every now and then and look at it, and my eye will tell me, okay, you need some weight here or some lines here, and you can see, look at those little lines up top from the razor blade. Yeah, so here is what I ended up using. This is I like this gold frame. It gave it a kind of a feminine look to it, which I really liked with it. It softened it up and made it more whimsical. And here's the finished product. Sticking it in the old cabinet. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. It's a real simple abstract painting. Have fun, and we'll talk to you soon.